Welcome to the menagerie. My name is Argentarius, and today we're going to work on the art platform. We're going to pick up where we left off, and first I'm going to do a little recap here. So, what this art platform is we're trying to build a art platform that helps protect against theft, generative AI, no vendor lock-in, self-hostable, open open source and transparent, uh, no algorithm, and has basically enough features to let artists have this as their central point for all their artwork and doing, for example, commission work, as well as, if you're not an artist, it's a great place for you to go and be able to keep up with all of your favorite artists. So, uh, in a time where AI is getting big, and a time where there's uh, a lot of changes going on with a lot of the existing platforms and a lot of other platforms springing up. It's like, why do this? Well, uh, first off, it's I'm an artist, and I want to help other artists. So this is a chance for artists to have a platform, and not only artists, but people who enjoy art, to have a platform that's for us, by us, and I want to um I want to also, I'd love to have an option that isn't made by big tech, is open source, and I haven't really seen a whole lot of solutions like that. It's really specifically tailored to this and has all the protections that I plan on building into this. So where I'm at right now, um, actually, let me go ahead and flip over to my computer screen. Here we go. So there's a bit of changes since the last stream, where uh, we had this just in a bullet point list, and thanks to everyone who was really in there in the chat and helping me out with that. Um, we had some good discussions there. So what I've done here is I have, like I said I would, I have fleshed it out a little bit more. So each of these bullet points are a little bit expanded. So they're come with a bit of explanation. Basically, the things that I said on stream, and a lot of the things that we've discussed. So I won't go into that too much. So we have our goals, side quests, and current non-goals. Um, Another thing that's new is I've been working on ways that you can help support, like more direct support, I should say. Uh, you can help support with Patreon. You can become a member. I've worked quite a bit on making sure that you have all these options here, and all the things that I'm offering here as like bonus and exclusive stuff. I can still do while I'm doing this, as well as the other full time job, and it's not gonna necessarily take too much. So you can come join, become a member on Patreon. I would uh, very much appreciate it. And you can also do more direct donations with Kofi. That one is not, perhaps not as, this is purely just direct donations right now. I haven't done much more with that, but you are free to do so. Any donations is much appreciated at this point. Again, my goal is to hopefully get to a point where I can work on this art platform full time. And not only that, but also I want to do my own art projects, making more content. So uh, the other way that you can help support, without having to spend any money, is to like the video, subscribe to my channel. You can also comment. Um, Not only does commenting help with the interactivity and help the algorithm help discover me, it would also help to. Uh, I personally would love to hear your thoughts. Uh, so I love the interactions that we have in chat, but you can also comment. I definitely want your input because remember, this is a platform for you, not just me. Although I will be using it once it goes up and online. So the sooner I can get more support, and if you help spread the word by interacting with this video, that would all be much appreciated. The sooner I can get um, of, to a point where I can spend a lot more time on this. Time is really uh, the limiting factor here at this current time. So, but we're here today, and we're here to start working on this platform. So, let me show you some other things that I worked on. I'm going to go into the timeline here. This it shows you exactly what I did. Uh, huh, did it not sync? Well, that's something to fix. Because I know in my local repository, my timeline here is different. So let's fix that real quick. What I was going to say is I changed the database from PostgreSQL to SQLite. So that helps with our goal to make it self-hostable. Not that you can't self-host PostgreSQL projects. It's more so that SQLite is a lot easier because you don't have to set up another server. It's an embedded data. Okay, so let me get into the command line over here. Let me see. Okay, I think that's visible. Cool. So I use the Fossil source control manager. Fossil is, you can think of it like Git. If you're familiar with Git, and Git is probably the most popular source control manager right now. But the reason why I went with Fossil is because it is basically GitHub and Git put together. So it goes along with our goals of like trying to be a self-hostable project, because I can just host my Fossil repository and it gives me that website, the wiki, it even gives like forums and chat. I haven't enabled them, but um, potentially something I could have in the future. Gives you a ticketing system, all that fun stuff. Anyway, not to get sidetracked too much, right? Um, what was I doing? Fossil, fossil timeline. Okay, so you can see I put in some. I put in some commits here. Why are they not appearing on the website? So fossil push, fossil sync, maybe. Receive sync done. Ah, okay. That's why. Fossil remote help. I need to change where the remote is. Okay, that's right. Problem is, I use well, I started this project locally, and when I did fossil sync, uh, I know that this IP address is a local IP address within my home network. So my repository is still connected to the other side of it in my home network. So I'm going to fossil remote. Oops, that's not what I want. When I highlighted that in my terminal window, it copied it. I always forget that. Okay, fossil sync. Okay, this is a remote IP address. If you're not familiar, like a lot of the times, like 192.168, there's also 10 dot, and then the other third one is 172. That one's less used, and use the 172 dot something something because it's less used and does not less likely to conflict with like stuff. Okay, so if I refresh this page, no, you're not going to also push maybe fossil pull. What's going on here? Push pull timeline. Okay, so nothing got sent, nothing got received. Fossil SDM. Here's the official Fossil website. When in doubt, consult the documentation, right? Push protocol. Push. Do a sync, which is a shortcut for doing both push and pull. Huh. Timeline. See. Hmm. Oh, okay. So what if I do Fossil remote zebra hat? Okay, now it asks me for a password. I think that's a good sign. Find my Fossil password real quick. Fossil sync. Okay, great. Okay, because I was unauthenticated originally and it decided I was unauthenticated. Actually, let me bump up the font a little bit. Apparently, when I do this as the URL, I'm unauthenticated. But when I do enter in my username in the URL, then it will authenticate. Cool. Learning. Um, and the reason why I'm running into this for the first time is because the way I have mine set up at home is slightly differently configured. I think I primarily use SSH to do the syncing and authenticating and all that. Um, and in this one, I have it set up so I'm using HTTPS. So I guess I could technically use SSH still, but we'll get into that later. Uh, I got it working, so here we go. Here are the changes that I was expecting. Uh, so I did get it switched over to SQLite 3. And so that way, if you look in here, I changed the README so that there's a bunch of things that you don't have to do anymore. You don't have to install Postgres, don't have to set it up or anything like that. Which it's not, mind you, it's not terrible to have to set it up. It's just extra steps though, and running more software runs you into other issues like, in fact, if you read about why SQLite was created in the first place, it was because the creator, I think, was working on uh, integrated systems inside, or working on systems on like battleships, and wondering why, like, okay, if the database fails, there's like all kinds of failure modes, and you know why do we have to worry about the database failing? Couldn't we just eliminate that and make it so if the application fails, the application fails? If you fail to write to a disk, you fail there. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds here. Uh, so um, and I suppose if you're maybe not uh, interested in this stuff, it's hopefully later on we will get into like the more graphical, fun uh, things. Oh, actually, speaking of graphics, let's see if we can run this again. Mix ehx dot server. I think that was it. Yep. I go here. Okay. Server's still up and running. I can register. I'm not going to use my real email address. Email.tld does not exist. Success. Account was created successfully. And I can go to my cool. I can log out. This is really the only thing that the database is used for currently. And yeah, I think we may not even need it to do the authentication here. We could possibly use the XMPP server that I'm potentially going to use. So uh, let's take a look at that, actually. So if you recall from our last session, one of the things that we were going to try and do, I can close that. Yeah, one of the things we were going to try is build on top of XMPP. XMPP is basically a chat protocol. It got its heyday, it got popular. Um, I want to say early 2000s to mid 2000s or so. All the platforms that were trying to build like a chat service out of it. Well, needless to say, XMPP also has a lot of the building blocks that we would need for features like forms and features like feed. And as someone else is making a social media application with XMPP called Movim. It's not an art platform like we want specifically. This is more like Blue Sky or Mastodon or something like that. But It's built on XMPP, and so there is precedent for being able to do this as a base. So Movim, the other key difference here is Movim is separate from the XMPP server. So what I want to do is I want to include an XMPP server. I'm not going to write it myself, not the whole thing. Is uh, eJabbered. eJabbered is a XMPP server. So just trying to piece this together is I'm going to build on top of this, or I'm going to use this as like a module, and we're going to build a platform on top, an art platform on top of that. So if I go to the documentation here, now I haven't done this before. This is all live. Hopefully this isn't too, I don't know. I worry about boring you. So, um, so I'll try to, I don't know, keep it entertaining while I work here. All right. So configure advanced. So I actually have set up eJabbered before, um, actually multiple times in my life. It's been around for a long time. It's something very stable. One thing to note is that our art platform is open source, but um, licensed with like a copyleft license. Um, it's using the EU EU public license, and this one eJabbered I believe uses GPL. I can double check that real quick, but I did double check in the past, and they are compatible. So we can basically uh, package and distribute this with both of our licenses. They don't conflict, at least to my knowledge. I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me on this. Okay, copying. So usually projects will put a file in called copying, or they'll put it called license. I my projects I'm used to having license in there, so that's why I have license here. And uh, at least for our project, I put in some additional definitions to make sure that this doesn't get used for the purposes that we don't want, specifically, generative AI. And that is also within the EUPL's allowances. Okay, so GNU General Public License, so that's the GPL version 2. I did check before, and the EUPL and GPL are compatible. That's good. Okay. Uh, development, developer guide, Elixir diff, building with each. I think. Okay. So eJabbered is actually written in not Elixir, but Erlang. Erlang is one of the older programming languages that was originally released by Sony Ericsson. It was by a developer working there at the time, and Erlang is one of those interesting languages that I think caught a lot of attention when WhatsApp came out, or Elixir. Uh, Elixir is building on top of the same platform, I guess, or the base thing that Erlang uses, virtual machine that it uses. and they built it such that they built it for making services that are extremely resilient, with the intention of like you can have they built it for phones and to handle lots of phones and the whole handle like live uh, live changes to the code without dropping calls. So what happens in that scenario is if you're on a phone call, who remembers landline? when when you're on a phone, this was back in landline days. So when you're on a phone call and you need to push a code change, it would update everyone except for the calls that are ongoing. Uh, so the code would change. So anyone making a new call would use like the new code, but then anyone who's currently on a phone call would be running the old code until they hang up, and then it will uh, eventually update everyone's code that they're running on. And they also made it very resilient, such that if you're to handle your phone call, it might be like handled by this one subprocessor or something like that, and that thing might die, but it doesn't take down the entire system. So, it had this like tree structure, still has this tree structure, where individual nodes might die. If your call has issues, it doesn't affect anyone else. Like, yeah, that's bad for you as an individual, but it doesn't take everyone else out too. So yeah, very resilient. Um, kind of legendary, in you could say. And Erlang is still around today. Elixir is a new language that kind of comes off of people who are familiar. Well, I don't I don't want to say it. I don't know the full history of the background of the person who wrote or is still writing Elixir, to be honest. Um, but I feel like it comes from Ruby, but maybe that's because my perception of it is that a lot of people who uh, wrote in the Ruby programming language went over to Elixir once they found like, oh, I'm building these big applications in Ruby and it's not able to handle it. Or if I move over here, my application is suddenly able to handle way more, um, because the underlying thing is better suited for that. So yeah. Anyway, Elixir is like you could say a more modern Erlang, but that's not 100% true because both languages are still improving in tandem. Although Erlang is a little bit locked in time. Anyway, that's a little background on that. The reason why I'm looking at Elixir is because there is a very good web application framework called Phoenix. It is all based on Elixir. I've been kind of playing around with it off and on over the years, but I've never had like I've never had to the opportunity to build something serious with it. So this would be my first one. Um, I will say though that the reason why I chose Phoenix is because Phoenix has like if you look at a lot of the other frameworks. Oh gosh, I should probably switch to this camera. Um, uh, this view. If you're working, if you're familiar with a lot of frameworks, I've worked in Python, Ruby, my own language. Let's see, Go. I've done quite a few. Oh, C sharp, Java. Gosh, uh, that was the before time. I've um I've gone through quite a lot of frameworks, and there is I tend to prefer libraries over frameworks, but as far as Phoenix goes, it is the best framework that I've seen or worked with, and it it solves a lot of problems. I don't know how best to say that. So the Phoenix framework is the one that I chose because it is going to be the quickest to for me to get this project done. So won't um, it'll be easier to maintain. It will be easier to build, and it doesn't. The reason why I say I like libraries instead of frameworks typically is because a lot of times constrained to doing things the way that the framework wants you to do. But Phoenix, you can kind of take it piece by piece, and you don't have to. You're not tied locked down to it like in other frameworks. Although obviously, if you do it the Phoenix way, it's a little bit better, but it's very flexible and pluggable. They built a very good system here. Anyway, that's a little background on the tech stack that I'm working with right now. Um, for anyone who's really nerdy about that, I could probably talk for a while if you get me going. Okay, so this right here, this is building eJabbered, which is the Elixir. That's where I was getting with this. The not Elixir, the Erlang uh, project in using Elixir tools. Livebook is kind of like Juniper Notebooks, if you're familiar with that. Python modules. Oh, right. I should. Sorry about that. Um, I thought I was sharing my screen. All right. This is the Elixir Dev. So it talks about building eJabbered with Mix. What I'm looking for is not writing a module for eJabbered, but using eJabbered as a dependency. Let me see. I remember it somewhere in here. Use Elixir library. Embed eJabbered in Elixir app. That's what I want to do. So we're going to embed eJabbered in our project here. So it's an all-in-one package. Okay, so it's available as a hex package here. Mix, new app. I already have an app, so I don't need to do that part. And then I add the eJabbered package as a dependency. Okay. Put this on this side, and this on this side. Blow up the font here a little bit. Mix.exs. Okay, so here are my dependencies right here. I don't think, nope, they're not. Okay, my dependencies are not ordered alphabetically, so I don't know if it doesn't matter where I put it in, but I'll put it near the top. 24.6, is that the latest version? 24.12. Okay. Put it at the top here. Oops. Okay, 24.6. We want 24.12. Now, what's next? It wants us to do. Oh, I'm going to be in the way. I'm going to move. Drag me. Whee! Is that okay? Maybe over here. There we go. Let's try that. All right. Now you can see what I'm writing. All right. Mix steps dot get. So this is going to get ejabbered. Mix compile. This is going to compile ejabbered. Okay, runtime options. Oh no. It could not compile dependency. Saying I have some options here. Can't compile fast yet. I think the reason behind that is because the YAML library is not installed on my system. So Mac YAML.h found libyaml. The most likely way to fix this through install YAML. libyaml is already installed. Huh. Um, I think. Oh, sorry. This person's question has that in there. libyaml dev. No available formula. Oh, I'm looking at Ubuntu. Or root or YAML. libc. Maybe I can info. Huh. Um, C library. What if I do libc? Install libc. And, compiling's always the tricky part, right? Especially when you're depending on libraries on the system and you're not packaging them yourself. You're relying on other package managers such as Homebrew, in my case, or like pip, or apt-get, so forth. The state of software package management is still an unsolved problem. Where was I? Mix compile. Doesn't like that still. Well, wait a minute. It unpacked it here. So let's take a look at what's in there real quick. It would be under include VM, YAML.h. Okay. YAML include YAML.h. Okay. So we do have a YAML.h from libyaml, not libcyaml. Uninstall libcyaml. We just need to get mix to compile it. We need to let it know where this thing is. So I um I know how to do this, just not off the top of my head. It's been a little bit. I think there are some environment variables I can use to accomplish this. L L something. Mix compile. Wait, mix compile. Help. Mix help compile. Show me what options. Sometimes they list it in here. Configuration. Compilers. Compile. Library application. Ooh. Elixir compile. What? Huh. Um. Hmm. I am kind of stumped I think go in here. That is the step that we're stuck on. Mix compile. Gives us some hints. Because it can't find YAML.8. That's a header file. Compile. This looks okay. LD flag. That's what I'm thinking. Do we think it's C? It's C. So fastYAML.c. It's like LD flag. How do I LD flag? Also C flag. How to include. Okay. Okay. So I know in Homebrew, it's like in here under that path. But does Homebrew user local? Oops. I did not mean to change directory in there. Okay. Back to the art menagerie. But if we I think we can maybe get past mix compile. Sorry, env to set environment variables. And copy that, paste that. Go into edit mode. Env LD flag. Homebrew. Would include. Yeah, I could do that. Opt homebrew include. That might be the easiest. opt homebrew lib opt homebrew include. Okay. Let's see if this works now. Mix compile. Yes. Did it. All right, I'm gonna make a note of that so I don't forget. Whoa. Where should I could put it in the wiki and just kind of have a would that be troubleshooting or building, compiling? Would that go in the README? Let's start a new page. Because I don't think you would need to do this. Well, I don't know, but exactly now because we haven't deployed this or compiled it. So I'm going to create a new wiki page. Let's. The only reason why I'm hesitating here, trying to think of a good name, is because the way to rename wiki pages is essentially to empty out or delete wiki pages, empty out the wiki page and create a new wiki page with a new name. So it gets a little annoying when you have to do that too many times. So best to make a wiki page with the name that you know you're going to want right from the get-go. So, uh, so we have I could call it running, building, compiling. Running, building, compiling. Actually, let me just map this out. I prefer having like some space. So running, building, compiling, setup, configuration. Just spitting out words that are coming. If you have any suggestions, please feel free. Running, building, compiling, setup, configuration. We already have the README. We already have the home page. Actually, how does Fossil? Fossil. Let's see what their wiki looks like. List. Lots and lots. Branching. Cookbook. I like that. Cookbook. Opera. Opera. Is that the browser or wiki login? Opera. Oh, the Opera browser. Yeah. I haven't heard that browser in a long time. Anyway, tutorial. Oh, troubleshooting. So that might be one thing is like having a troubleshooting page. Actually, I think I like that. So just troubleshooting. Boom. Oh, no, I didn't mean to hit that. Okay. So we'll start troubleshooting page. This page is troubleshooting issues. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. So let's see what the symptoms are. Symptoms. We'll make it fancy, make it bold. Symptoms when trying to compile dependencies. What does it look like? What error did we get? We got, I'll just copy that. When trying to compile dependencies, there is a with mix compile error occurs where header file, which is a .h file, that's like a C header file. Header file is not found. So that's the symptom. The output look like this. Potential solution. The potential solution is, or at least how we fixed it, night. Set the LD flag and C flags variables to point to these libraries called. So mix this case hot homebrew lib and hot homebrew include are used. Install the library. Sorry, I'm skipping around here. Before I forget, I want to also show that we already had the library installed. I didn't need to install it again. For example, I think brew install YAML brew or sudo apt install. What was libyaml dev? Libyaml. Okay. So 2. So yeah, in this case, used. But it could also be user local local, because that's sometimes one of the ones that is less frequented. Let's have a look here. Actually, I'm gonna do the code machine. It is using a different operating system. Okay, yeah, user local. That's what I thought. It has the include structure here as well. So, but then sometimes you'll compile. There we go. See how this looks. That looks okay. Yeah, we'll start with that. I can always change the formatting later. I am happy that we were able to get this working. Now, what was the next? There we go. I should probably close the other tabs before it gets too cumbersome. Okay, so now we have, oops, I'll close that editor. So we already have a config folder here. We don't need to make a new one. This is asking us to make one. I can pull up an editor config. So that's what our config folder looks like right now. Oh, interesting. So it's suggesting we copy the one from the dependency runtime. Ah, and that. Okay. Let me think. All right. Uh, we already have a runtime configuration here, and it's kind of specific to Phoenix, because when we built the Phoenix server, or yeah, when we built that, it it came from a template, and so uh, we're gonna have to merge the one that comes from Phoenix with the one that comes from Jabbered, but not too worried about that. And this configuration, that's familiar to me. I think I have one that I could potentially use already. I'm gonna create a new window here, pop it down so I have a little bit of a reference. Here, Right. Let's take a look at steps, jabbered, config, runtime. Oops. Okay. So that's what the config file looks like. It's not a lot, to be honest. Import config. Huh. Okay, so root path is defined. Root default is defined as well. Config ejabber. Mencia? Mensa? Benisa? To merge this, I'm just going to put it at the bottom, I think. Well, no, I don't necessarily want this where it's harder to see. Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it at the top here. I'm going to make it real obvious this is coming from Jabber. Capitalization. None. H in there. Jabber. End of it. Begin and end. Just real simple here. So it's very visible that I can see right there. That's specifically for eJabber. Conf. Copy that conf here. That's funky. So there's going to be a config folder as well as a conf folder. Would it make sense to use the path? Like not have to make a directory? Huh. Well, I don't think it hurts to try and do it the way that they're prescribing, at least first. I can always change that. Steps, jabbered, example to conf YAML. Cool. Okay, so this is a big file. There's all right. So this is a config file. Looks pretty similar to what I've set up before. Think I can I think I can like reuse a lot of the configuration that I have. I'm also kind of wondering, like, could I generate some of the values in here? Because the host, like the host name, yeah, host, localhost here, might work. Yeah, maybe I won't copy and paste um currently. Let's just get this working, right? So start the app. Jabber will start as a dependency. I don't know if this is going to be compatible with here. I don't know if this is going to be compatible with how I start Phoenix. If I run Phoenix, oh, let me try this. Oh, so it one of the ways to run Phoenix is this way. Let me try that. Whoa, I saw some red there. Nope. Have configured application configuration. You have not added the application as a dependency in Mix. You are configuring an application that does not exist. Oh, well, hang on. Hmm. Well, it might be running. It does say try and do that. Try and do that. It seems to have worked. Next, you're all set. You can connect an XMPP client. It won't have certificate. Test host and the weakest password. Well, not the weakest. Okay. Failed to. Oh, right. Yep. Should probably do this on screen. The reason why is because I had some other accounts on there already. Move. Oh, move these on screen. This is an XMPP client called Beagle. I'm giving it a try. Okay. Disable. Test app host. Authentication failed. 127. No. 127.0.0.1. Maybe Beagle requires a secure connection, which which is good, um, for for most for most cases. But we want to test. We need a client supports that supports insecure connections. Beagle. Is there a way for you to not use TLS? Hmm. Maybe not Beagle. There is a client called Profanity. Sounds sounds bad, but it is a command line. I'm not super familiar with it, but let me see if I can log in through here. Okay. Oh, command connection. Connection command. Oh, oops. What are some other connections? Ah, connect. Connect. Okay. Ooh, okay. There we go. We have one right here. I'm just going to copy that. Login failed. What did it fail with this time? This time it said it accepted the connection, or no? Is it? Look at the timestamp. Okay, that was a few minutes before. So it's this one. Accepted the connection. But we got a login fail. Maybe I just typed the password. Test local. Oops. Connect test localhost. Enter password. Oh, it doesn't like that. Well, we can see that it's working to some degree. Working to some degree, but it's not accepting my password. Password. Actually, I'm finding that very hard to read. Oh, why? Oh, theme list. Theme load. Proofbox. Oh, maybe Groovebox transparent. That looks a little better. Okay, so now I can see the password. Hmm. Oh, try register. Let's take a look at what try register does. I'm wondering if it's in here. Try register. No, nothing. Ooh, where would I find the documentation? Be in the hex docs, maybe? Possibly. We can take a look there. That just takes me back to the documentation page. Online documentation, maybe? Yeah. Okay. And then, oops, oops. Come on, go back in there. Get in your place. Try register. No. Okay. Well then, auth. Oh, okay. I, hmm. Where is the reference material? So I've been doing this, which is programming, coding. I've been doing this for decades now, and I tell you, like for anyone who's studying programming or coding, it's it's a lot of like just kind of hitting your head against the wall sometimes. Which is also uh why a lot of like people will actually recommend doing pair programming where you have someone kind of looking at your screen like you are now, and uh just so pair programming is where someone's looking at your screen, and typically it would involve someone looking over your shoulder at your monitor, but with the nice thing about remote work is that you can do this online with screen sharing, and you can be pair programming here as well with me. But the idea behind it is that with things like this, having two people looking at it, you can kind of talk back and forth a bit, and it really helps to get you unstuck in these sort of situations where it's like, okay, what what do I try next? I'm kind of running out of ideas here. That sort of a thing. And the other thing too is like as you're going through it, you have two people looking at the code and looking at the same thing. Because of that, it is an alternative to things like code review. And it's very effective. So rather than having to, submit your code to a panel of your peers, and your peers have to take time out of what they were already doing to look through your code and make sure it is up to coding standards and whatnot. Well, if you do pair programming, you can you can pretty much forgo that because you've already reviewed it with a peer. There's a lot of other advantages too, but I wouldn't recommend pair programming as like an all the time thing. There are some places I know about that go pair programming crazy, and every piece of code is written with a pair, which um which good on them for I guess having the discipline for that. But what if a lot of it can kind of depend on how you get along with your partner, sometimes. I remember back, oh gosh, I don't remember. Um, I This wasn't pair programming per se. This wasn't pair programming at all. But um, I this was when people were going with the open office structure, removing cubicles, and everyone can have more efficiency because uh, what now there's more distractions because everyone can see what you're doing. There's no cube walls anymore. Oh gosh. Um, but I got put next to someone who doesn't shower. uh, and this was a person who was very rude to me and said like, "Oh, your code sucks." And I'm like, "Well, yours." I mean, to give context, what he was commenting on was my code from something that I had only been given like a week to complete, to build, you know, an entire product and launch an entire service that, um, frankly, I don't. It, I don't. Looking back on it is pretty incredible that I was able to complete that. And you know, the code was just for me, and this was something that was supposed to be temporary. So it wasn't. It didn't have to look nice or anything like that. You know, it didn't have to be maintainable. Um, but I guess they went back and tried to make it maintainable, or do something with it, because apparently I had to go rewrite all my code, which, you know, to be honest, that's not that's not unusual. Uh, you end up rewriting lots and lots of code throughout your career. I don't know. I don't know why he had to say that to me. Hmm. Um, and yeah, it's not pretty, but it worked. But here's the thing. So I got the job there because he doesn't write good code, and I built an entire department to um, to help mitigate that, essentially. So jokes on him. uh, anyway, uh, I don't know if I'm going to get much further than this right now. So I don't know if it's worth my time to try and log in at this exact moment. So I'm going to continue. Let's see. Call Elixir code and Erlang code. Let's gonna let's see. Elixir library. Oh, these are the other thing. Okay. These sections are unrelated to using it as a dependency. That's interesting. Actually, there was an error, not an error message, but like a warning that came up in here that I remember. This EX sync. I want to learn a little bit more on that. What is that? I go in here. Oh, hearing aid there. I have a bit of a phantom hearing aid feeling. Actually, I need to take a quick break. I will be back in about 5 minutes or so. Okay, I'm back. Um, I'm going to take a quick look at EXSync and then I might wrap this up. 'Cause I think I'm at a stopping point here, or very close to it. So let me do a quick search on this. If I go to not eJabber, but x.pm. Yeah, okay. EXSync. What's this about? Yet another Elixir reloader. Hmm. Okay, let's go share documentation. Elixir reloader. Code changes, EXSync automatically recompiles it. Okay. Supports recompiling dependencies without additional configuration. Oh, I noticed that it was in the runtime here. So, ah, I forgot to switch to the computer again. Whoops. Okay. So I have the documentation pulled up and I have the runtime pulled up where we added the Jabber. Let me pull my cam over here. Okay, so where is exec being called? Reload callback. Okay, so when exec is being told to reload, it's doing something with eJabbered. I'll have to. Oh, it says also supports a reload callback, is an MFA module function argument. We called after each time the code is recompiled. Okay. Supports compiling path. Interesting. So I guess if anything triggers like a recompile, um, not a compile like C compiler, but uh, Elixir or uh, any any of this code, application code, it will it will call this Jabber to run its update function. I'm assuming, yeah, module function argument. So this is the module function. Okay, interesting. What was it complaining again? Remind me. Saying you have configured application exsync in your config file, but the application is not available. Usually means you have not added an application as a dependency. I'll have to look into that. But I think for now, we've gotten some headway here. We've gotten a working eJabber server. Well, we're not able to log into it yet, but maybe that's on me. I haven't been giving it the right password or something. I'll figure it out. Um, and we've also figured out my thinking issue. I pushed my changes up. Now my repository is pointing back to the public repository. Um, that was mainly just because I had it sort of, I was working on it privately for a bit and then made it public. Let's see. What else did we do? Well, we recapped and we also went over ways that you can support. And again, that I have a Patreon as well as Kofi, and you can also like, subscribe, and I'd love to hear comments, please feel free to let me know um, your ideas for this in the comments. All right, and with that, I'm going to end it here for tonight. Take care.